right, have and have not fans. Now, I did put the intro for this video because this is a big one. We are talking about the most talked about subject in regards to Spanish Moss Trail. Now, I gave the episode Dessert a very low score. We had over 10 minutes of Jeffrey and Justin content, yet we barely had, I don't even think, 2 minutes of Jeffrey and Justin on screen in the episode Spanish Moss Trail. Yet that's the most talked about thing from last night's episode. Sure, we had some funny moments with RK, Wyatt, and Jim and Catherine, but in terms of, oh my gosh, everyone on Twitter is talking about whether or not Jeffrey is dead. Then moving on to the preview for next Tuesday's episode, Tomorrow's Not Promised. We have David and Veronica at the hospital. The doctor showing David a body after he lifts up the cloth. David's breaking down. And the real question is Jeffrey Harrington dead? This video is probably going to be a lengthy one. I mean, there are different subcategories with under the question of, is Jeffrey dead? I could do at least 6 different videos, but I'm just going to put it all in this big mega video. So let me just tell you right now, this is going to be a long one, but for simplicity's sake, because a lot of people are commenting the same things, and I've said this in multiple videos already, the guns may go off, but trailers, not just one, but trailers covering this entire season have shown fans that Jeffrey and Justin are going to be in future episodes. And on the screen right now, you'll see different scenes from the trailer we got back in April, the trailer we got May 7th, you know, after the first episode of Wicked Web came on. There was a trailer about here's what's coming up this season on the haves and the have-nots. We have Jeffrey with his hair cut shorter. We have Justin in jail. We have Jeffrey and Justin having like a struggle in the parking lot, in like the parking garage area. We have what looks like, you know, Veronica going up to an apartment door and Jeffrey's answering. And then a lot of the scenes where Jeffrey and David seem to be talking at David's house. Jeffrey has a haircut. And one line that he says in particular is, you know, it seems the only way out of this family is death. And then they give each other a hug. Gavin and Nick, the actors that portrayed Jeffrey and Justin respectively, they were in Atlanta for filming in season 7. So right off the cuff, we could assume that both of them are alive. And if I wanted to stop there, this video wouldn't even be 5 minutes long. But based off the preview for next week, there seems to be reasonable evidence that Jeffrey is dead. So just so you know, at this point of the video, if you are a firm believer that, you know what, Jeffrey is alive, it doesn't matter anymore, I want to click off the video. That's all well and good, because at this point, I need to dive into the various subcategories I mentioned before, because we're going to dissect this as much as possible. So if you're about to click off the video, or if you are new to this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification icon. That way you don't miss out on any new content. Still trying to hit 80,000 subscribers before the end of the month. We have about a week and some change in order to do so. I think we can do it, but get ready, because I'm about to list off the different categories in which this video is going to go into. But before moving any further, let's look back at that brief scene. It's about 10 seconds long, when Justin was about to pull the triggers.
Okay, Justin. 2. Justin. 3.
All right, now as you can see from that brief clip, and shout out to Ace Series on Instagram for breaking that down for me. He was able to get the clip from the episode, and based on it being 10 seconds, it was much easier for me to slow it down and try to capture exactly what happened, because I saw both flashes go off from each gun, but I couldn't screen grab it due to the fact that the quality of the video on YouTube wasn't that great. I think they released a clip of that yesterday. I saw it somewhere, but in any case, I was able to see that there was a flash from both guns when Justin pulled the triggers. And I actually hit up one of my friends, Adrid Hubbard, back from we've known each other since middle school, but we were roommates in college as well. and he has experience from, the police force. And I asked him about it. If if a gun goes off without a bullet in the chamber, does a flash still happen? And he texted me a response. I want to try to get this as down pat as I can. The bullet is comprised of a few parts of the projectile: the casing, the primer, and the gunpowder. As long as you have the gunpowder and the primer, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, to light the gunpowder, there will be some kind of explosion. The pressure from the explosion is what sends the projectile, the bullet, down the barrel. All right, so basically there will be some kind of explosion so long as there's gunpowder and the primer to light the gunpowder. So basically, yes, this is a TV show, but at the same time, I do like to dive into like the psychology and science of it if it is applicable. Now, there is yet another scene that I wanted to bring up, and this is technically season 2, but now it's officially referred to as season 1. It's the episode, I believe episode 31 or 32, called The Vulnerable. It's the one right before the episode of Sarandon Hotel. This is when Candace Young was in the custody of the Malones, and they took her out to the woods and they fired a gun at her head. And this harkens back to my biggest haves and have not blog of all time. And if I had my YouTube channel at the time of season 2, that video would have skyrocketed. But in any case, this blog had over like 100,000 hits. And I did a very in-depth blog about when Candace, is Candace dead? Like when the gun went off, was she faking it? Was she really shot? And I went into the science of it. So, let me stop talking for just a moment. Let me play that brief clip, come back, and we'll break it down.
Do it!
No.
All right, now the difference here is that in the clip, and maybe it's because it was early haves and have nots, so Tyler Perry didn't know, how much he could show with the censors. But in that situation, we didn't see the gun go off, but we heard it. And then in the future, if not, the very next episode, we found out that the gun went off right beside Candace's ear, which kept it ringing for a while. And you're probably wondering, well, if she wasn't shot, why did she fall over like she was dead? And if you go back to the blog, and I will link that in the description below, as well as the top comment. And if you go back to the blogs, you will see why I started this channel. This is how I gained a fan base, because those blogs were very in depth. And I even looked into the psychology of it. And it's almost like, let's say if you and your friend are walking and they fall and scrape their knee, or, if someone stubs their toe or hits their elbow and you feel it, it's like, like you kind of, what's the word? Wince. It's like, when you cringe, like, if you see someone get inflicted with pain and then you physically feel it yourself because you imagine it happen to you, it is a psychological effect where if a gun is pointed at your head, you are mentally trying to process the fact that, oh shit, I'm about to get shot. But then the gun goes off, but it doesn't hit you. Let's say it's a misfire, or the person shoots around beside you but not at you like you thought it would, and you fall over or you react to it in a frightened fashion. That is a psychological response. So the reason I'm bringing up this along with the Candace clip, going back to the Justin Jeffrey scene, is because I know there are people out there saying, well, Justin did say, one of these guns is loaded and the other one isn't. Let's let fate decide. It could be suggested that when the guns went off, only one of them got shot and then the other fell down because they thought they had been shot. That's a possibility. But based off the way they were flying back after the guns went off, it is possible that both guns had a round. Possibly. Because remember, one gun was the one that Justin had pointed at David, and he seemed pretty damn serious about getting rid of his problem. The other gun, I have no idea how he got, I don't really care. But in any case, this isn't the first time that Justin has pointed guns at himself and Jeffrey. this isn't the first time that he has pointed a gun at Jeffrey. I think by account, this has happened at least 3 to 4 times. The first time was when I believe Justin was at Candace's house. This was fresh off the Quincy Maxwell murder, and Jeffrey wrestled him down to the ground because, Justin was fighting him. And then because Jeffrey won, next thing you know, Justin pulled a gun on him. Then it was after Wyatt was taken away to the psych ward because Jeffrey had enough of his antics that Justin pointed a gun at himself and Jeffrey, but then Jeffrey punched him in the face, which really confuses me as to why in this scenario, Justin is counting down from 3. He has his eyes closed, yet Jeffrey is doing absolutely nothing. He's just standing there. I think he's mumbling something, but I could not make out what he was saying. If there's anyone who knew what he said or had closed captioning on, that would be very helpful to let me know. But in any case, the guns went off. The question is who actually died or let's just say got shot. But going back to the subcategories of this video, there are so many different things to talk about. Is Jeffrey dead? Is Jeffrey alive? Based off the trailer showing Jeffrey and Justin in various scenes, was this effective misdirection? Because, I'm going to make another superhero reference, but just in general, when it comes to movies, sometimes when it comes to trailers for big promotional films or even television shows, there are some things in the season trailer like, hey, look forward to season whatever of this show. When it's time for that episode to come, or maybe by the season's end, those scenes are cut out and they are deleted scenes because maybe they had a change of direction and they decided to cut a scene out in favor of another. Or in the case of the MCU with Endgame, more specifically, or Infinity War, some scenes in the trailer were fake. Not just because it's like, oh yeah, that scene we didn't put in the movie because it didn't fit. It's like, no. We purposely film characters and whatnot in the trailer in order to mislead the public. So when you see the movie, you'll see what really happens. It is possible that Tyler Perry may have done that. I don't know if that's the case, but I think it is possible. If he did, he pulled one over on me, and I am not afraid to admit it here on this channel. And here's something that I thought about, and I mentioned this in my episode review for Spanish Moss Trail. Candace talking about how she was having nightmares about Quincy Jr. Why not bring back various cast members for just brief scenes and episodes during dream sequences, or if a character is just standing around and then they see someone in the corner of the eye, it's like they mentally project the person they're thinking about, like Quincy Jr. or Jim and Catherine think about Amanda. It's like it gives the cast members who have been killed off or written off an opportunity to come back for one-off appearances, but it shows that their deaths have a lingering effect as opposed to just them, oh, they were killed off of the show, so they're done, we're not even going to think about them anymore. And that's not really how it happens in real life. So I would really like that to happen. What if Jeffrey is a figment of David's imagination? I'll be going into that too. But then we have other things coming up, like remember that young black girl that Veronica's supposed to be having from that the girls' home, where it's like, volunteers, I guess you could say, allow a young lady to come live in their home, and kind of, I guess you could say, hey, could you sponsor this young female in order to help them grow, be successful in life? Remember, Becky with the bad hair? It's kind of like that. And I do believe Cameo Sherelle on Instagram will be portraying Laura, and she will be in season 7. But if Jeffrey is dead, why would Veronica want to sponsor her? I don't know. And let's see here. Yeah, and then we had to get into the Derek factor, if who is under the cloth. So like I said before, this video is going to be lengthy. Hell, I think we're at like the 20-minute mark already, or close to it, just because of the fact that there is so much we need to dissect to determine whether or not this is a red herring, if Jeffrey isn't the person underneath the sheet. So let's go into it step by step. And once again, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, because if you think this video is shocking, there are over 2,100 videos on this channel that go in depth just like this. Okay, one thing we need to address first of all, let's say, going back to the synopsis for the episode Spanish Moss Trail, Madison intercepts an anonymous call to the hospital. If memory serves, we did not see that. Madison was at the beginning of the episode tending to David's bruised back, a bleeding back, and changing his bandages. And then at the very end of the episode, he was just about to leave his shift at the hospital with Keisha. But the only phone call he was involved with was calling Jeffrey after Keisha said the phrase that we will be breaking down in this episode video, 2 gunshot wounds to the head. You're lucky that you're leaving right now. So the synopsis may have been a bit misleading. Maybe it leads into the next episode. Maybe Madison intercepts a phone call then. But basically, what if it's a scenario where both of them were shot? Let's just say that Justin and Jeffrey were shot. Who made the phone call to the hospital? Given the fact that it looks like Justin and Jeffrey's apartment is in a relatively nice neighborhood, maybe a neighbor or somebody walking or jogging down the sidewalk heard the gunshots fired and then they called 911. That's a possibility. It would have been interesting. Well, no, I think it would have gave things away. Let's say if Madison was a few minutes away from clocking out, he gets an anonymous phone call and we recognize that it was Justin over the phone or something along those lines. And then because of that, we as an audience know that, well, Justin wasn't shot, but Jeffrey was shot. So I do think it was a smart move for them to not do that, because that would just reveal too much too soon. And then on top of that, it's a matter of, okay, Derek, I think that'll probably be its own video still, but 2 gunshot wounds to the head. The way Keisha said it, again, Tyler Perry did a great job writing that line, because it is hard to determine if one person had 2 gunshot wounds to the head or if it is 2 individuals who both had gunshot wounds to the head. And you could make the argument, well, remember, Derek wasn't even in this episode. He was only briefly mentioned due to the fact that Catherine's like, I keep calling, but he's not answering my phone calls. I just want to give him a piece of my mind because I'm enraged over what he did to you in the past. And if you are just tuning into the show, it was revealed that Derek was the man with the lion tattoo, aka the man that raped Hannah when she was young. I'm assuming when she was a teenager, and she got pregnant with Candace, and that's Candace's father. I have an entire playlist on the main page of this channel called The Lion Tattoo, because I've been preaching about that subject for over a year now. So you could make the argument, well, what if Derek was brought to the hospital, and because maybe he was in so much grief and guilt over, what he had done in the past, that he just decided to try to take his own life. That is a reasonable theory, but I would hate for that to happen. I think that would be a terrible way to write off Derek, especially without Candace knowing who her father was. So as much as I love that theory, I hope that is not a I hope that is not fact based off what we see in the trailer for next week. But because the question is, who's at Hannah's door? Is it Jim or is it Derek? Once again, that's an entirely separate video because I have a lot of thoughts on that. So we've talked about the anonymous phone call, like who called the hospital. We talked about, Derek possibly being the person who shot himself. I'm not going to rule that out, but that means he would have to be living on Spanish Moss Trail as well. And keep in mind, we do not know what street that Derek lives on. Just keep that in the back of your heads as well. Moving on to the next part of it. And I don't want this to be the case because there have been plenty. I'm not going to put it past the law enforcement / hospital personnel in the haves and have-nots. Is David being shown the wrong body? Oh man. Keep in mind that Wyatt was thought to be dead from an overdose, but he did not die. He overdosed, but he didn't die. You had like a paramedic, you had like security from the hotel, and they couldn't tell that he was alive. David comes in, sees that, checks and figures out that Wyatt has a pulse, and he's rushed to the hospital. So David, who isn't even like an official like surgeon or doctor, nurse, whatever, or emergency personnel, he was able to see that, hey, he has a pulse, call 911. Cause I think Jennifer showed up too, and a couple of cops, and it's like, oh my God, he's dead. But then David rushes in. It's kind of like, when Benny set up the truck to, get in that wreck with Quincy, and he drops the drugs beside Quincy to make it seem like, yeah, this dude's going to be arrested and he's not going to be able to get out of the jail at all this time. And Quincy drags his broken body to the bushes, and you have like a group of cops in the street, not even like 30 feet away, who don't even bother to check the area because I'm pretty sure Quincy was dripping blood everywhere. So it is, and then going back to several episodes ago when Justin wrecked Madison's car with that crowbar and then knocked him upside the head with it as well. And then it's like, doesn't this hospital have security cameras in the parking garage? Why is it only one overweight cop that comes out of nowhere and then Justin beats him up? Secret Service was at the hospital because Charles is there, yet nobody was able to see, hear, or get to Justin in time. Going even further into that, what about Benny, who just got stabbed and had stitches, but yet he's able to just get up and walk out of the hospital without so much as a prescription? There are so many damn things in this show that don't make sense. So guys, I would not put it past these morons to not show David the right body. But even so, let's say let's just put it this way. Let's put it this way. The doctor gets a description of Jeffrey Harrington, and he rolls the body out there on the table or whatever. He lifts up the sheet, and then David starts breaking down because he knows that that's his son. Does that make David the moron? So, I mean, we do know in the trailer that Veronica says if that boy doesn't make it, it's almost like she's threatening David. And it goes back to different videos that I can definitely do branch off videos of, like, will David feel guilty if Jeffrey is dead? Is Veronica upset that Jeffrey's dead? Believe it or not, and I've said this various times again and again, Jeffrey is loved by Veronica. David is loved by Veronica. I know that is a wild and crazy accusation, but the thing is, just like Candace, and some of the best videos on his channel have been, did Candace really love Quincy Jr.? Yes. Does Veronica love Jeffrey and David? Yes. But the thing is, they love power and control over everything else. I mean, for Veronica, yeah, it's definitely control. Like, she wants a family, but the thing is, it has to be done on her terms. She won't accept that Jeffrey's gay. She won't accept David being around other women. But the problem is that she's paranoid, and, she was a former addict and things of that nature. So all that combined is like, you point out the imperfections of everyone around you, yet you don't look in the mirror to see how damn cracked it is when it's your reflection that's being shown. With Candace, it's just the life. The life of living on the edge, conning people, the thrill, that above anything else is what, she lives for. She's been that way since she was like a child, a teenager. But that doesn't mean she's incapable of love. That doesn't mean she doesn't love Benny. She doesn't love Hannah. She didn't love Quincy Jr. She just loved her own lifestyle more than anything else. That's the thing. So even Jim and Catherine still love each other. I don't care what anyone says. They still love each other. So I could go on and on. So trust and believe that I do think that Veronica does love her son. And I guess you could put it this way. It's almost like that scenario where, let's say you have a sibling or a cousin or a parent. You talk trash about them. You can say whatever you want all day long. But if someone like a friend of yours tries to say something negative, like, whoa, who are you talking about? You can't talk about my brother that way, my sister, my cousin, my parent that way. I can. The same rules apply. Like, Veronica can arrange it so Jeffrey and David can be inflicted with as much pain as she wants them to be, like Quincy beating up on Jeffrey, that hitman setting up the explosion to kill David and Erica. But let's say if Jim was the one that orchestrated Jeffrey to be beaten down, if Catherine orchestrated a hitman to go after David, Veronica would have a fit because it wasn't her that was doing it, and she didn't want David and Jeffrey to be hurt unless she felt they deserved it, and if she was the one that orchestrated it. So I do feel that Jeffrey has some legitimate concern, that Veronica has legitimate concern and love for Jeffrey. But you could also make the argument that if Jeffrey's gone, I'll never have a grandchild. We'll never be able to carry on the Harrington bloodline. I could definitely see that being a factor as well. The reason I think that she might be threatening David in the trailer is because David talks about how I went over there to get Jeffrey. He was with that boy. He had a gun on me, but I put his ass on the floor and Jeffrey wouldn't leave. And he's a grown man. And it's like, I get that argument, but the fact that Justin had a gun pointed at you and you didn't get your son out of that situation. Yeah, he's a complete dumbass for staying. But at the same time, look, let me put it. I'm 27 years old. Yes, I'm a grown man. But I am pretty damn sure if I was in a situation that my parents didn't want me in, they would try to physically drag me out of that situation, no matter what I said or did. Same thing with this scenario, especially, you know, if it's a black family, shoot. First of all, you would know not to be in that situation, because even if you were raised right, and I'm not trying to question how anyone is raised, but we just live in a society where, you know, whoopings and, you know, all that kind of stuff is frowned upon. But as a child, that stuff happens. So when you grow up, if you find yourself in a situation where somebody says, hey, well, you want to smoke or you want to drink or whatever that case may be, you mentally remember what your parents said or did to you when that came up in your childhood. It's like, nah, I'm good. And that helps to keep you out of trouble. So with Dave, and I've done plenty of videos on this because I do believe that, especially if you go back to like the first couple seasons of the Haves and the Have-Nots, David really wasn't shown to be a prominent father figure. Just based off the way Jeffrey acted around Veronica and Veronica's controlling nature, it seems that David was there as a father, but it seems like in terms of the raising of Jeffrey, most of it was Veronica. Like anytime Jeffrey got into some kind of trouble or whatever the case may be, I think David was the one that offered a loving hand, but Veronica was the one that, you know, smacked the hand away and pretty much, you know, unleashed the wrath of Veronica. Like, you're going to do what I say, child, no matter what. Pretty sure that Jeffrey growing up had some hints and tendencies that made him obviously show that, hey, this dude might be gay. But Veronica would just ignore that. It's not uncommon for, you know, some parents to ignore signs of a child's sexuality, or more, you know, prominent being mental challenges, you know, mentally ill, where some parents just refuse to admit that their child has some, you know, mental challenges. And I have a couple people like that in my family, cousins, because, you know, their parents were just so, no, there's nothing wrong with my child, and there was. So I'm pretty much speaking from experience, and I'm pretty sure we all have someone in our family or someone that we know that was in a similar situation. So I do feel like Veronica does have legitimate concern about her son. And yes, if she has every right to be mad at David, if he does say that I was over there with that boy and he had a gun, yeah, I definitely see why she would be mad at him. And that's one of the few times that I will give Veronica credit for being upset. And I think most of the blame does go to Jeffrey. Like, if Jeffrey is dead, this has to be, and I even had like this was like at 5:30 this morning. My mom was getting ready for work. We had like a 20-minute conversation about this. This has to be one of the worst character deaths of all time. If Jeffrey Harrington was killed at the beginning of the last episode, hands down, one of the worst written deaths in the show. Yeah. And if you've been on this channel long enough, you know I hated Maggie Day, Oscar, Warlock, their deaths, because it really showed that when Tyler Perry drastically changes a character's personality seemingly out of nowhere, where a character who's usually been calm, cool, collected, smart, and very strategic for their duration on the show, when they just start making stupid decisions, you know they're about to be killed off. And that's what I hate about various deaths, because these characters were just written out of the series just to be written out of the series without giving them a proper farewell. Like that, you know, they start off the race well, they taken off, you know, they pick up speed and momentum. They're adding flavor to the show, and most of the characters that are killed off were characters who were only supposed to be in a handful of episodes, but Tyler Perry saw potential in whether their character can grow and add to the series, so they get brought back or they are added to the show longer. For example, Erica, she was only in what, I know now they technically call it season 2, but it was season 3 when it was on the air for me. She was only in those couple episodes selling the car to Benny, but then she came back for quite a long time. Maggie Day was only supposed to be like in 3 or 4 episodes, but once again, Tyler Perry, boom, like what he saw, added her for a couple of seasons. Oscar, I don't really know what his schedule was with the show. I just know that he was the con man. Well, actually, the asset recovery specialist. And then he was added on for a while. And I think that, him being drugged by basically, him being drugged by Candace for basically going up to her room was stupid. Maggie Day trusting Veronica and going over to her house, leading her being shot, stupid. Warlock just being turned into a freaking monster after Quincy's death and literally sexually abusing Candace before he got killed off, stupid. Here we go with Jeffrey. All the stupidity that Benny had in 2018, for whatever reason, they just shifted it over to Jeffrey. Madison, David just repeatedly telling him, the signs are there for abuse. Justin has kicked your ass multiple times in public. He has pulled guns and has beaten on your loved ones, yet you insist on going over to this dude's apartment. What the hell? It makes no damn sense. So I've just hated what they've done with Jeffrey ever since the beginning of 2018. Afraid of Flames, where that first episode where we're concerned about the Melissa and Veronica car accident, but we spent like the first 10 to 15 minutes of the episode with Jeffrey and Justin. And yeah, Jeffrey has had some good moments standing up to his mother, but yet when it comes to Justin, it's like, what the hell's going on? He's just acting like a 3-year-old, and he's being manipulated even though he should be too smart for this. And if he got killed off because of his dumbass not leaving when David told him to, I have no remorse. I literally have none. If anything, I'll just be like blaming Tyler Perry. This is just poor writing. What the hell, man? So I do feel like if Jeffrey is dead, this is hands down possibly the worst character death. And I don't mean like, oh my God, it's the worst character death because it was Jeffrey. No, I'm talking about in terms of the writing, the lead up to this death, and just what it means to the series. It's just ridiculous. Now, kind of briefly going back to what I mentioned before about the whole wrong body scenario, for people saying, well, what if Derek was the one that was shot? I'm not saying that's not happening, but I don't want that to happen. If Derek is the person underneath the cloth that David showed, I don't think that would work because, yeah, I do think they are the same complexion. I do think it is a liable theory that Derek is Jeffrey's father. I've got a video on that on my playlist. I think I got an entire playlist on who is Jeffrey's father. And if you're probably confused like Jeremy, look, I know you do theories, but you're kind of going all over the place. How is Derek Jeffrey's father? In the episode, I forgot. Was it Out of Time? Was that the name of the episode? But it was the episode where Veronica's thrown over the balcony because she sees Madison and Jeffrey kissing at David's house. And she pretty much said, oh, you still think he's your father? Yet we've never had any follow-up on that. So there's seeds of distrust as to whether or not David is actually Jeffrey's father. Now, we do know that Derek was gotten out of jail by Veronica. They had sex at least one time. We don't know the exact timeline of that, but maybe I'll do a video. I hate timelines are so confusing, especially with series inconsistencies. So let's say the most damning, that isn't Derek under there. David would know. At first I was thinking, well, Derek is bald and Jeffrey is not. But you can make the argument, well, if it was a headshot, the doctors possibly had to, shave and whatnot to remove the hair because it was blocking the way. Okay, but Derek had a full, beard and everything, and Jeffrey did not. So I do not think that Derek is the person underneath the sheet that the doctor lifts up. And if you want to go back to, once again, they changed the season numbers. Season 2, I forgot the exact episode, but it was when Jennifer Salison had the police remove Amanda's body from her bedroom, and instead of going down the back stairs, they actually went down the front stairs, and that's where Jim and everyone saw. And Jim opened the body bag, and they saw Amanda in there. So they're probably recreating that scene where David is the one who sees Jeffrey's body when the sheet is lifted, and that's why he's breaking down crying. So I would hope that they would not go so far as to David doesn't even recognize his own son. So Jeffrey could look, all I'm saying is if Jeffrey was still alive, I don't think, and look, I don't work in the medical field. I hate blood and all that stuff. So I could be off my rocker when it comes to this assumption. I don't think the doctor or nurse or whoever would roll out the still living body, show it to the parent, and lift the sheet, and it's like, yeah, they're dead. We just need you to identify the body. As opposed to, okay, so this person who has a gunshot wound to the head, yeah, they're barely clinging to life. So we're going to unhook him from all the cords, roll him out here, show you the body. This is your son, right? Okay, let's hook him up to the cords. He has about 5 minutes to live if we don't hook him back up. This could be it. I mean, like I said, all those trailers, that could have been fake scenes to mislead us. And if it is, bravo, Tyler Perry, you pulled one over on me. Hence why I said within the first 5 minutes of the video, if you're a person who's like, they had all these trailers and everything, so it's pretty damn obvious that Jeffrey's alive. What's the point of even discussing this further? That's why I said, if you're one of those people, you can click off the video. And if you are one of those people, yet you're still hearing this video, you are a trooper. Give yourself a pat on the back, and I just appreciate you for looking this further into the video, either because it's like, I want to see how in-depth Jeremy is going to go on here, either to determine that this dude is crazier than Veronica, or this guy makes some good points. And I want to cater to both fan bases here of this scenario, the ones who believe that Jeffrey's alive due to the trailers versus the people who have reasonable doubt. It's like, look at the trailer for next week. Based off David's reaction, it's pretty damn obvious that Jeffrey's dead. I can agree with that. I can see both sides of this. The trailer showing Jeffrey alive in various future scenes, and the trailer showing David crying. I feel like both scenarios are valid. But, you know, this is a review channel. We pretty much try to go over every possible scenario. Now, let's see here. Looking at my list, I think I covered everything. I've covered, you know, the trailer pictures, the comparison between this shooting and the Candace and the Malones about the psychological, you know, oh man, what if he wasn't shot, but he still fell over due to the impact of the gun, the explosion. He mentally thought he was shot. If one of them was alive, who called 911? What did Keisha mean when she said 2 gunshot wounds to the head? That is double talk at its finest. We do not know. We just know in the trailer that only one person's being rushed into the emergency room or whatever, and then it's like, Jeffrey, because Veronica's screaming. Well, I know they were rushing by. I don't believe as viewers we're able to see the person in the gurney. I believe that's the stretcher, the gurney, whatever you want to call it. I know somebody will correct me in the comments, but I maybe in that blink and you miss moment, they saw that it was Jeffrey. So it's like, well, what about Justin? If he was shot, wouldn't he be rushing as well? F Justin, I don't care. But it is a trailer, not the full episode. There could be another scene where Justin's being taken in. But I do think that Justin may be alive, and David and Madison know that Justin did it, and then they put him behind bars, and then Veronica takes advantage of the situation by sending in those thugs to beat him up. And if that's the way, if Jeffrey's dead and Justin's alive, let him rot. But one can make the argument, what about Pearl? Do you think Pearl is the one who's going to get him out of jail? Because yes, Pearl disowned her son, but maybe it's like, oh, so you killed that color boy. And it's like, well, Mom, you know how Justin lies, like, well, Mom, I tried to stay away from him, but he kept coming. He was even at my apartment, and then he came over, so I had to shoot him. It was self-defense. That would be an amazing story twist if you have Pearl and her attorneys versus Veronica in court. True, I think that would be an amazing way for Veronica. I don't want to say it's Veronica redeeming herself, but it's pretty much like, first of all, your son not only killed my son, but on top of that, your son tried to drive me off the road. Instead of killing Justin, that will be the ultimate middle finger. But, you know, of course, Veronica and the halves would have to not be arrested by George. That would be an amazing plot twist. It would still put Justin in the show, but to have Veronica shut his ass down via the legal system. Boom. And this is why Tyler Perry needs to hire me. All right. Well, guys, with that being said, I still have plenty of other videos to get done between now and next Tuesday. So I want to say this for like the 3rd or 4th time. Please hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get these numbers up. I want to hit 80,000 subscribers before June. And on top of that, 100,000 subscribers is my main goal. I am about to turn 28 on August 29th. No, strategically, based off the calculations and channel growth, 100,000 might happen in September, but I would love to have it happen before my birthday. That would be great. If you have any further thoughts on is Jeffrey really dead, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to share this video around. I know YouTube's algorithm has been wonky the past couple weeks, so I don't know if this video is going to blow up as soon as I post it, because I don't know if people will even be notified that it's posted. So if you could do me a solid favor, put this video on your social media. If you're tweeting it, hashtag HAHN, tag Tyler Perry in it, tag OWN in it, tell your friends about it. Trying to get this video to get as much traction as possible. I didn't do this video last night because of the fact that this is a big thing. I had to do research. Shout out to Sadrid once again for giving me that information about, guns when you pull the trigger. And on top of that, A Series for providing me with the clips of the Justin and Jeffrey shooting, as well as Candace and the Malones. And I guess you could say, if I were to say one last thing to close this video out, and I have touched upon this here and there in this video, what would be the aftermath of Jeffrey's death? And that's one important thing. It isn't always about the characters who get killed off. It's not always about, oh man, the mid-season finale, the season finale, who's going to die. The way to kind of weed out who's dying and who's not is whose death would have the most impact on the story. Whose death would have the most impact on the story? And you can make the argument, well, Jeremy, you make a good point about, characters acting out of character right before they're about to die. I think going back to last season, Erica and Melissa were probably the best examples of this. Characters who were just kind of there. Like, Tyler Perry didn't seem to know exactly what to do with them. See, Melissa was pretty much written into a corner. Let's say, based off her conversation with Hannah, it's like, go to school, well, then again, she thought the $45,000 that Melissa had was actually hers, but it was Benny's. It's like, take that money of yours, go to school, or, oh, that's not enough, take out a loan, start your life over, have that baby, because she can speak from experience when it comes to being pregnant, even though she didn't want to be, but still had the baby anyway. But the problem is, if Melissa did have that child, Veronica would just not stop coming after her. So Melissa was kind of written into a situation where, unfortunately, she had to be killed off because there was no other way for the story to move on. I mean, I could have thought of a couple of different ways, but in terms of, Doctor Strange looking into the time stone and seeing how many possibilities there would be to beat Thanos, and it was like 1 out of 14 million or whatever. Same applies with Melissa. I don't think there would have been too many other ways for her to move on with her life unless Veronica was killed. Plus, her mother wouldn't allow her to just go away. So Erica was just cooped up in her house. Erica and Melissa were both cooped up in houses for the duration of, what was it, like season 5, during that first chunk of the season before they got killed off. So with Jeffrey, again, poor writing. I don't even know how else to explain it. So him being killed off is just like, okay, well, what's the impact of that? Veronica will never get her grandchild. RK has no reason to work with Veronica now because he wouldn't be scheming to manipulate him for her. David would lose his son. Wyatt, I don't even care. I don't think he would have a reaction to it as much as I would think he would. Catherine would probably be sad, and Jim, because they actually did like Jeffrey. Candace would probably be like, oh my God, but she's too busy with the president-elect, and that's about it. So, oh yeah, one thing, did I really talk about this? I think I brought it up. The whole thing about, David seeing Jeffrey as a ghost. What if in the trailers, Jeffrey is showing up with David and he's actually not there? He's like a figment of his imagination. Well, to be honest, everybody in this family seems to be pretty damn crazy. So for David to just see the ghost of Jeffrey, that doesn't surprise me. I'm surprised. I think that if David did not know that Erica was a whore and Veronica did not set that up, that was all Candace, I think that I think maybe he would see her, figments of his imagination where it's actually Erica. Just imagine he's walking around the house because Erica died right outside the front door. Jeffrey would have died, at the apartment. But you got to think about it. The last time they spoke was in anger. It wasn't David. He was just looking out. for Jeffrey, but Jeffrey was just being stupid. So maybe that scene where it's like, I want to take the law into my own hands, and it's like, well, yeah, it seems like the only way out of this family is death. I do think that that is a liable, or excuse me, that is a realistic line for a dead Jeffrey to say. So I do think it would be pretty odd if Gavin is in every episode as a figment of David's imagination. Or you could go back to the age-old theory that my mother has, that Catherine Cryer has been dreaming the events of the haves and the have-nots ever since season 1, where she went under in order to get breast cancer surgery. If you don't know about that video, definitely check it out. It's kind of weird. I think that Catherine and Veronica have actually shared my blog posts, but they've never shared my videos. And I was like, come on, man. And once again, my blogs were a hit. It's like Ashley Miller was like the big time have and have not YouTuber until I did my channel. And I think that I have more subscribers, but I think she has a well-rounded channel because she does all kinds of shows. She actually got to meet Tyler Perry and everything. And that's like, she got me there. She got me there. But in terms of like the biggest have and have not YouTube channel, that's me right now. But I don't have those accolades. But at any point, I don't really care. It's just the fact that we have a very strong community here. 100,000 subscribers is what I'm gunning for. No pun intended, based off the context of this video. But I think, folks, that about does it. Is Jeffrey dead? What do you think? I've talked enough. I don't even know how long this video is right now, but I know when I start editing, it's going to be like, damn, this is crazy. But I just wanted to leave no stone unturned, and maybe I did. Let me know in the comment section. Was there anything in this video that I didn't cover, but you want me to? And yes, trust and believe, there are other videos coming out later this week, but they won't be as long as this one. So I think it's pretty understandable. It's like, look, I've done a lot of talking today. The editing is going to take forever, but this video will be out today. It is the 22nd. I promise this video will be up on the channel. I'm going to take maybe like a 20-minute break, stretch a little bit, drink some water, sit down and edit. I might go to Target like at 10 o'clock tonight just to browse around. So this is definitely going to be up later today. So I urge you, once again, this is the last time I want to say it, share this video around, tag Tyler Perry, tag Gavin, tag Nick James on Twitter just to kind of get this video traction. Hashtag HAHN. I'm only asking because YouTube once again is being wonky with their algorithm, so I want to make sure as many people see this as possible. So if I don't have videos posted tomorrow, you know why. This video took a lot out of me. I got a new vacuum cleaner last night, ready to try that sucker out, do some cleaning. I might be going home this weekend for a few days. I might, because I actually have things I need to get done back there. Looking through the storage building for more things to sell on eBay. So I really wanted to put my all in this video. That way, if I did take a couple of days off, completely fine, because guess what? Plenty of other videos I need to get done before next Tuesday. So once again, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification icon, comment your thoughts, and we'll go from there. So yeah, is Jeffrey dead? If he is, good riddance. I'm sorry to say that, but just the way he was being written, it's like I'd rather him be killed off the show than to take up space because he's been acting like a moron. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on Nicholas, but Justin and Gavin, Jeffrey. But I would have to say, out of this entire video, my favorite part was the random thought of Pearl coming back into the series, Justin in jail, but saying that he killed Jeffrey in self-defense because he wouldn't leave him alone when he was trying to get his life back together. Then they go to court about it, and then Veronica fights Pearl off. You know, not physically, but in court. That would be bad ass. So Tyler Perry, if you're listening, I hope you take that in consideration. If any of the cast members are listening, hey, I'll probably hit y'all up later, see how everything's going. There are a couple of people from the show I haven't even talked with after the episode aired last night because I've been busy, but it was a good episode. Spanish Moss Trail, best one of season 6. So I'm done talking. Take care, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Congratulations on making it to the end of this video. If you like what you just saw, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, or if you have anything you would like to add to the video, make sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section below. If you want to keep up with me on social media, go to the description box. All of my links for social media are right there. Also, if you feel like you would like to donate to the channel, make sure to click on the link to PayPal. Any amount helps. $1, $5, $20. As a full-time YouTuber, any support from my fans really does mean a lot to me. Finally, make sure to hit the subscribe button as well as the bell notification icon. That way you're kept up to date on any new content I post to the channel. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you in the next video.